welcome to the Lady NightHawk show, where we talk about hot topics, and sometimes I get a little passionate, don't I, Donald?
Oh, very. Not a little, very.
Man, you should have been here last week with David. Oh my God, you probably would have said. I think you would have got passionate if you had heard what David was talking about. You probably would have shut me down, okay? Because we were talking about voting, okay? But I have a guest here tonight. We're gonna move on. I just had to say that. So we have a guest here tonight that is, we just saw him on and spoke with him on the Let's Talk with Paula show, and he was very powerful in a message that he gave to us on that show. And he's gonna come back. He's an artist, and he's gonna come back, and he's actually gonna perform for us the next time that he comes. But tonight we just wanted to sit down, right, Donald, and just have a conversation with him so we could see where the music might be coming from, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we're gonna let him introduce himself, and then we're gonna move around to Attorney Bell, but he's been hanging in there for a minute. Okay, so I appreciate you, Don. But our guest tonight, if you would introduce yourself.
Good evening, Don. Good evening, Paula. Good evening to the congregation. My name is King Harvey. I'm a hip hop artist, as well as a youth advocate here in the DMV area. And I'm just a pusher and an advocate and curator of culture in our city. And a Christian, a firm Christian that I stand firm in my beliefs in Christ above all things.
And let me tell you something. I do have another show that's Jeremiah Interdenominational Missionary Church show, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this is not that show.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is just to people, okay, and Christians and everybody alike.
Yes.
Because I didn't want you to get the show, because I know I told you about that I was going to have you on the church show as well. So
Okay.
the people that we're talking to right now, this is a different kind of show totally, okay?
Yeah,
we
no,
talk about
no,
all
I
kinds
just-
of hot stuff.
yeah.
So it's just people, you
Yes.
know, so.
Yeah.
And to talk about Christ is always good. I just said, when you said congregation, I said, oh, wait a minute, he thinks that I'm doing this other show.
No, that's what my movement is called, Church in the Wild. So
Oh, okay.
my congregation is the
It's
world.
the world. I got you. Now see, by me saying that,
Yes,
it made
ma'am.
us understand why you call them. That's
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
That's right.
Very
so
smooth.
that's why I said we're always led by the Spirit here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I didn't want you. I didn't see. I was thinking that you were thinking that you was on my
Oh,
church
no,
show.
no,
Okay.
no,
but see,
no.
by you explaining it to us now I understand. Why you said congregation.
Yes,
now
ma'am.
everybody knows why he says congregation.
Yes.
Because and say it again one more time.
We just here to have a conversation with the congregation. The name of my movement, I'm actually in the process of starting my nonprofit. It's called Church in the Wild, because Jesus, he didn't hang out at the White House. He wasn't hanging out with the politicians and the kings. Jesus was in the trenches on the front line. So I feel like in modern times, he would be in the hood, he would be in the ghetto, he would be in certain places because he came to heal. So that's what I'm out here to do. If I'm here to, the world is the congregation. We out here and the world, in the place that we're in right now, and the space that the world is in, it's almost like a jungle. We're in the wild, so somebody got to bring the church to the wild.
Yeah, well, that's just when that song came out, "The World Is a Ghetto." Oh, you're not old enough to know
It
that.
truly is. No, yeah.
You're not old enough to know that song. But anyway, you're not old enough to know that song either, though. But okay.
I'm just sitting here smiling. So I got to go Google that one and listen to it tonight. So.
The World Is a Ghetto. I forgot whoever made that song, but I remember I was young at the time.
Yes, ma'am.
But that's very powerful, what you just said, and I never thought about that. And I'm a pastor myself, but I just never thought of it in the manner in which you just said. And so, thank you for that.
No,
And
thank you for
that.
letting me elaborate.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And I told you we led by the Spirit, so we might go in any direction.
Yes.
You think we're going one way, we're going somewhere else. Okay, so Donald.
So bear with us.
That's right. Yeah, so you introduce yourself, Donald.
Sure.
Attorney
Thank you.
Bell, I'm sorry. Attorney Bell.
Well, thank you for having me back on the show. My name is Donald Bell. I'm an attorney here in Maryland, specifically here in Prince George's County. I'm located here in Prince George's County. My office is in Greenbelt, and I am so happy to be back on the show this evening. Thank you.
And we always, just such a pleasure to have you on the show, and you just adapt to anybody that I have on here. That's what's so great about this, it don't matter.
It's always interesting. You learn so much
Yeah.
by, coming and interacting and, you know, with interesting people from all walks of life. So.
Yes, sir.
And so Gabrielle, we want to say hi to her. She's on the highway going to California. She sent us a text message yesterday telling us that her road trip was going well because she was supposed to be here with us tonight. And so, Gabriella, we just wanted to say that ask God to keep watch over you as you travel to and fro. And we thank you for introducing us to this young man. And so, you know, we're going to move on from there. I just want to say this to you guys. Election time is coming up. Don't know now. I wasn't going to let that slide. It's election time is given to come up for Bowie and for different districts in the Prince George's County. I think even in the District of Columbia, I think they have elections that are coming up. And so I just want to say this to you: the City Council, they vote for the City Council, and then voting for the mayor. Okay. So if you want to apply for any one of those, I was so surprised about this. That all you have to do is go to City Hall, fill out an application, and pay either $20 or $25 to get your name on the ballot. Now, what you do and how you go out and promote yourself is on your own, okay? But I'm just saying, it's just that simple. They have 12 candidates that they have seats for in the City Council. Please go out there and make sure that those people are representing you in the manner in which you thought they were, and that they're doing what you know, thought they were going to do, instead of just going out and just vote. And don't sit at home and don't vote, because that's worse, to sit at home and not vote. We struggled to be able as a people just to be able to vote. We forget about that sometimes. We struggled as a people because they used to have all kinds of trickery that went on that made it so that we were not able to vote. And that's what me and David got into last week. Because David thinks that you're supposed to, no matter whether you're running for office or whether or not you're a voter, that you have to be able to, David, I'm quoting you, that you need to take a test to see if you're able to pass a test, and that you should know what a bill, you should know what a bill is, and the branches of the government, and it doesn't matter how old you are, and if you can't do any of those things, it's like you got to take a test, some kind of test, okay, to say that you're able to go out and vote. Now, come on now, that's 1,000 years old, because that's how they used to trick us down the South, that we weren't able to vote, they kept us from the polls.
I will say this, in my opinion, the most basic rights that you have as an individual in this country is the right to be able to worship and pray to who you want to pray to, and the right to vote and put people in office who represent your interests. So if you want things to change, stop talking about it, get up and take action. Either do what Paula said, you get yourself on the ballot, because change starts local. It doesn't start nationally. It typically starts local, and it grows and evolves. It grows into something national. But change starts at home. Get off your butt and go and vote. And if you don't like who's on the ballot, you get on the ballot.
And it's so easy. Even in DC, you need to look and see what the rules are down there, because it's not as hard as you think.
Yeah, you just definitely.
So you need to go check it out. I'm saying this to you.
Yes.
You need to go check it out, find out when the election is, and how you get your name on the ballot. Okay. It's always good to have good experience. Okay. So if you don't make it this time, okay, but at least you got the experience of going through the process. Okay. And I don't have stock in this company. But last week, when I was talking to my good friend David, I told him that based on what he said that people should know, if you don't know, this is called Schoolhouse Rock. They used to come, some of y'all don't even know when he used to come on talk.
When I was a kid on Saturday morning.
That's right.
This would come on with the commercials between the cartoons.
That's right.
So this is how, we kids got educated on this stuff right here. So you'd be sitting up eating your cereal on Saturday morning, watching your cartoons, and during the commercials, this would come on. The
Schoolhouse Rock. It tells you about, and the one I used to like, what is a bill? And they tell you how a bill is made, and those things that we do need to know, but I should not have to be responsible of making that I know how or what it is before I can vote You know what I mean? But I'm saying, based on what he said, I'm giving you information here. They have, on this particular one, you can get them individual, you know, on whichever one that you're not sure about how the process works, okay, in government. But this one right here includes 46 original animated songs, and one of them is about the bill. That's the one I used to love, the bill, okay?
And I would also say, why don't you go Google it?
Yes.
Go Google Schoolhouse Rock.
Yep.
And you may be able to see some of those. You may not be able to get all of these, but you may be able to see them individually, you know, on YouTube or through Google or something.
That's right. So thank you. That's a good idea. You know, then that way you can look and see for yourself, because you know what? There are bills and amendments that are being changed every day that's affecting minorities, okay? They're keeping a lot of people distracted. You know, COVID kept us all distracted, okay? A lot of you probably don't even know that an election is coming up, because do you see anything plastered around in the city that's telling you that the election is coming up? Do you see anything plastered around in D.C. to tell you there's an election coming up? It's an election coming up, folks. This is how Trump got into office, because during these small elections, he put judges all over this country into place. He put people on the, you know, the city councils and you know, different places in government, judges, you know. So you think that, like you said, this little voting that we're doing now, this is the most important vote that you can have, because these are where the rules, and like he just told us, in your area that is affected. So if you're not sure what Schoolhouse Rock, it will tell you everything that you need to know. And this one, like I said, like he said, go out there and Google it and find out what it is about. I don't have any stock in it. It's just that after we were talking about this thing, and my good friend set us back, minorities back 1,000 years, okay? Because he says that he thinks that we need to know all those things. So I'm going to give you some tools, so the next time if you see him, you can say, hey man, I looked at Schoolhouse Rock. I can tell you what a bill is. I can tell you what the 3 branches of government is, okay? But you don't need to know that to go out and vote. Don't let somebody stop you from voting. And you need to do your own homework. Don't listen to Bob or Sam and they say, oh yeah, go vote for so-and-so. No, you go do your own homework and look at what it is that this person that's sitting on the city council and what the mayor's done, did they do what they said they were going to do? And like one of you said, and if you don't like that, then put your name on the ballot yourself. You know, because you got to the end of the month, okay? And it's about the easiest way. I am so surprised that all you got to do is fill out an application and pay a fee to get your name on that ballot, okay? Yeah, sure. And then you might be able to get this young man over here to come out and rap for you.
On the campaign trail.
And what on the campaign trail. Yeah. Or we might be able to go support you, you know. Yeah. I'm just saying that we need to take control, like Donald said. We need to start taking control, Attorney Bell, I'm sorry. We need to start taking control of our own destinies. That's basically what you're telling us as well, because somewhere we're lacking, and we have let things go and slip by, and, you know, look at where, you know, I'm trying to think of, they shut down all the places where people could go, young women and young men could go to get free birth control. They shut all of those down. Okay. I can't think of what the name of the place is called, but they shut down all of those hospitals, and not hospitals, but little clinics that they had where you could go get, you know, birth control and stuff. They shut all that down. Then they turn around and then they tell you that you can't have abortions, okay? I mean, you know, to each his own, but I'm just saying. And what happened? People your age, they said that more men under the age of 35 went out and got vasectomies. You don't even know what the world is like. You don't know who you're gonna meet later on. But now you done got a vasectomy, okay? And now you go meet the woman of your dreams when you turn 37, and you can't have no children because you went out listening to whatever they was out there telling you, and you can't have any kids. So you gotta listen and think for yourself, guys. I'm serious about that. Don't let these people keep on, all these amendments and things that we got put in place from the civil rights movement you talked about earlier today. Mm-hmm. We're put into place to protect all of us, okay, and to make it safe for all of us. And now most of those bills, see, people don't understand that some of those amendments during the civil rights period were made so that you had to re-vote them.
Yes.
Okay, so they weren't made to be permanent. They were made to pacify us because they knew that we weren't going to keep that movement up. You understand, especially when King got killed. Okay, and some of those leaders should have stepped up and kept things going, but they knew that these amendments. That's why I say look it up. Were voted on. Some of them are not. Some of them are permanent, but then you got some that were voted on during the civil rights. But go look it up. And they knew that they had to be re-voted on. So that's why I'm saying these elections are important. Attorney Bell told me about a sheriff, okay? I didn't know that the sheriff had so much power. I understood that Bob Marley sang about, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy, okay? I ain't understand why Bob Marley ain't shoot the deputy. Well, Attorney Bell told me how much power the sheriff has. And you put the sheriff in place. That's one of those elections that you vote on, okay? And so if you don't know who you voting on or how much power they have and what they can do for you, then you need to look it up. And I agree with that, but that shouldn't stop you from voting. So don't say my vote don't count, okay? Because that's the first thing you hear from young people. My vote don't count. It does count.
But I go to, I kind of gotta play devil's advocate right here. I agree with the guy, Dave, not that it should be a criteria to vote, but you should know these things. You should know the branches of government because you should know that the president doesn't pass any bills. He doesn't make the laws like we're talking about right now. It's people that are melanated like us that are ignorant that they believe all they have to vote for is the president. All they have to vote for is certain elections, not realizing your local elections are the things that directly reflect the things in your community, the laws that are passed impact you directly. So
locally is where, where they determine how much money that school is going to get.
That's right. That's superintendent. That's another position. That's
locally is where it's decided how much the seniors are going to get, whether or not it's going to be a senior citizens
rent control
center, or whether or not there's rent control for seniors, or whether or not Metro gets the funding that it needs.
Privatized
in order to provide services to people who can't afford it. All of that stuff happens locally.
This election. And now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that people are not supposed to know, but it's not supposed to stop you from going out there and voting. I should not have to go out and take a test to say that I can vote, because that's how they kept us from voting 1,000 years ago. Okay, if you couldn't put an X on the mark, you didn't know how to spell your name in the South, you couldn't vote. If they had a little test that you did with
here,
one of them was what?
If you couldn't sign your name and you were black.
That's right. I'm sorry,
vote.
that's what I meant.
So that was the criteria in the South.
And the other little test, what did they do? You told me about the marbles.
Oh yeah, they put like a jar of marbles in front of you and say you would have to guess how many was in there. It would be very arbitrary things, that they would put up, and then they would just use plain voter intimidation. If you come to vote, then most of the people were sharecroppers. We're gonna kick you off the land, and you're not gonna have a place to live, and you're not gonna have a means of supporting yourself. So I mean, voter suppression was real, and it's still real. So that's why it is important for you to exercise your constitutional rights, to go out and vote for people who represent your best interests.
And I'm not saying that you're not supposed to know, but it should not keep me from being able to vote. So that's why I'm trying to give you a little tool, okay?
Don't stay ignorant.
If you don't know how, because who's going to sit down and teach all these people before election on what a bill is? Who's going to teach all these people how to take these tests? You understand what I'm saying? That's just another tool to keep you from making it so people, like you say, of our complexion or minorities of any race, to keep them from voting. Well, I'm trying to give you a tool that's really cheap. You can go out there. I do not have stock in this, okay? But when I was growing up, that's how I learned, okay? They're cutting out civics classes. They're cutting out so you don't know what's going on. They're cutting out black history classes in places. You got a governor down in Florida that says that he wants to change history and take all the black history out of all the schools so the people don't even know anything about black people. Okay, like we never existed. So you need to go out there, look on YouTube, Google it, find out If you go into
There's
one
too
of these
many
stores
options
and
to
go out, it's
remain
called
ignorant
Schoolhouse
nowadays,
Rock. It was a
man.
cartoon. It only takes a few minutes. And trust me, in singing, you learn a lot of things. And then you always all song animated so that you can remember. So when you have a skill in an art that is very useful to get a message out, because people are going to sing your songs, and while they sing it, they're going to be learning something. You understand what I'm saying? So I did that so I could throw it back to you. Go ahead and tell us about your
So let me ask you,
yeah.
how can we, you said that you're a youth advocate.
Yes, sir.
So how can we get the youth, the young people, to be involved in this in this movement?
I feel like you gotta reach a young person where they at. You can't expect them to be where you are. A lot of people go into these communities, or a lot of people that are saying the youth are lost, they're just worthless, or they're just a waste of time. You're expecting that child at 16 to think like you think at 30 or 50 or whatever the case is. And where was your mind at that age? Put yourself, be able to reflect and humble yourself and be back in that position and understand when the world was coming at you that young, what were the things that made you light up, or what were the things that you tend to
So what are
gravitate
some of the
to?
tools that you use to reach these young folks?
Like my good buddy of mine, Reverend Martell Artist, he has a gospel go-go band. So we'll throw shows, we'll throw lock-ins where it's like Friday night, bring your babies through the lock-in. We're gonna have a good time, we're gonna party in a safe space. We might even bring the youngers up on the stage with us. You got some talent. We've had open sessions where we've been in the middle of our show, and we've asked young people in the crowd, you sing, you rap or something. All right, come up here with us. We're gonna give you that experience to be in front of a group of people, spotlight your talent. You don't know what that makes a person feel like, the confidence that it gives. So find the things that these young kids are into. I never understood if rap or everything they were trying to make it seem like it was so bad. It's the most lucrative genre in music right now. It's the youngest, but it's the most impactful. So it can't be bad. The tool and the way it's being promoted is not necessarily always in the best light. So find a way to oppose that. Promote. You got rappers like J. Cole, who I love, is one of the best rappers in the game right now. He finds a way to become like CNN for people like us. He relays the message and he gets it across to the point where it stops us from being ignorant. Like you said, music can teach you things, because the easiest way to keep a person, I guess, down or suppressed is keep them ignorant. Ignorance doesn't mean that you're stupid. It just means you don't know. And most of the time things are hidden from us in books or in literature. That's why a lot of us don't know about going back to the people that actually write the laws and pass the bills. You have people that are naive that think it's the president doing all of this. Like, people were so mad at Obama. He wasn't doing.
It was not his fault.
He's kind of
He had a
just a
Republican
front man
Congress.
in so many words, and he has to report to somebody who then he can veto certain things, but for the most part, he'll get trumped. So that man could be wholeheartedly for the black community, but if he has 12 other people that's voting against him, what can he do? So we have to find a way to, for one, not stay ignorant. And there's too many tools out here that's simple. It's YouTube, it's things like this. It's too many avenues that we can use right now that we're using anywhere on a regular basis. I know people that are screen time is crazy on these apps and everything. Well, you can use them for the same purposes. You can use them for positive purposes. We just choose we gravitate to the wrong things.
And I think that it's very important for us to, especially during this time, because like I said, amendments during the civil rights period, some of them were made to be voted down again later on, and that's what's happening to us now. And so we need to know what an amendment is and how does it impact us, but it shouldn't stop me from going to vote. Okay,
No.
You cannot use it as a tool, because I don't know the three legislative branches of the government. You can't tell me I can't go vote, because maybe they didn't have civics classes. They taking civics classes out the school now. Like I said, we got a governor that's down south that's trying to make it so that we don't even exist, and he publicizes this stuff. He's trying to you got people over in Virginia that's trying to stop you from getting books about black history and, minorities and stuff like that. So there's kind of like, you know, in our tri-state area, we have some of these same issues.
It goes back to what you said. If to know where you're going, you got to know where you were from.
Where you
so if
came
I
from.
stop you from knowing where you came
Right.
from, you're SOL in
Right.
so many words on trying to get to where your full purpose is,
That's
or
right.
where your future is.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
And we have to find a way. Like it starts with the youth and locally, like Donald said. It's grassroots. And with these young kids, you have kids that dream about architecture, fashion, things like that. Find a way to tap into that. You got to actually go ahead and talk to them. I've talked to some young kids that it will blow your mind at things that they actually aspire to be, but it's just not
presented to
it's
them.
not accessible to them. It's not presented to them. So we got to step up. It's our job.
Well, let me tell you, Jesse Jackson, the Rainbow Coalition, they tell me that he just resigned from that position. But I used to work with the Rainbow Coalition as a young minister when he was when he was a senator. He used to live down there on 3rd Street, and he used to come down to our church and hold meetings and stuff. But one thing that he would tell us was that people don't like me is because I'm loud or I'm always in front of the camera. He said, but let me tell you something, and that's one thing. That's why I'm sitting right here today. He said, if we don't get in front of the cameras, if we don't tell people that we are real, we exist, then how are they going to know? We have to stand up for what we think is right. And what's the best way for you to do that? Is to get in front of the cameras. He says, people don't like, but I don't care, because I want to tell the truth. Yeah. I want our people to be educated enough to understand what's really going on in this country. You understand? And today, just from that little inspirational talk, it affected me as an individual, and I've been a community advocate almost all my life.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Because I know that it's important for you to get in front of this camera. If, you know, everybody doesn't have money to go out and pay to go into a studio or pay to get that representation that they need or find out where Donald Bell Esquire is,
right.
You know, that's going to help me from going into bankruptcy and hold on to my home, you know. But there are people that watch these.
That's a valuable asset.
Let me tell you, we have veterans that come on this show, and people tell me, oh, I watch the veterans, and he's a veteran as well, and he's on that show as well. But I'm saying is that we have to be proactive. He also said, stop buying. I'm not trying to get at my brother that used to sell all them shoes and them people in the ghettos and where they low income places that didn't have the money, but so the kids wouldn't get beat up when they went to school or get bussed on. They would go out and take that $110 and buy them a pair of tennis shoes. That man was making boo-goo money. It was ex-box basketball player, okay?
I'm Michael Jordan.
And the other little basketball player that came out of Philadelphia, he went out and he got hooked up with a name brand person, but he went out and sold tennis shoes that the parents could afford to buy. You understand what I'm saying? And then other thing he used to say, make your own products. You telling me about your son's shirt?
Yes,
my son's got a brand by himself. Okay, he does. Yes, we have friends that out here that your age, and see, this is what I admire about your group. Is your age is trying to do what Jesse Jackson said years ago. Make your own stuff. Yeah. Sell your own stuff. Get your own brand. You didn't hear that speech. I did, but I see this generation doing it. Your age group, I see doing that, and it's such a wonderful thing to hear you that your son that goes to Duke Ellington. My two sisters went to Duke Ellington.
That's
okay,
cool. That's cool.
Anyway, I went to Catholic school. They went to Duke Ellington, whatever. But anyway. To know that your son is in Duke Ellington in high school and he already has a brand out there for himself.
Right.
You understand?
You got to teach them to monetize their dreams.
Oh, yes.
Things that you gravitate, that you love, and that you see that you can attain. Take a chance on yourself. Yeah.
Well, we got, in Prince George's County, we got two young brothers that I think they might be 12 and 14 now. But anyway, they have their own company, candles. They do candles or something. But anyway, awesome. We're going to have to say good night. We're going to have you back.
Yes, ma'am.
And we thank, everybody, and we're going to say good night.
Good night.
Good night, folks. Y'all stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.